Well, hello guys, it's Lisa here with Keller Williams South Tampa, coming at you with another Millennial Monday. Alright, so if this camera angle looks slanted, it's because my house is not level, just so that you know. Alright, today we're going to talk about the true costs associated with buying a house. Okay, now when you think about buying a house, there are probably some things that pop into your head, and you're probably thinking about the affordability per month, all that fun stuff. We're not really going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about today are the actual tangible out-of-pocket expenses that you're going to be required to pay in order to purchase a home for real in real life, right? So number one, you have to determine your down payment amount. Your down payment amount is determined by your lender. You need to get with a lender to figure that out. It can be as low as 3%, as high as 20%, actually as high as 50% if you're not a U.S. citizen. Anyway, get with the lender, figure that out, and that's going to have a big impact, obviously, on what you can afford. Number two, closing costs. Now, closing costs are generally about 2 to 5% of the loan amount, okay, as a rule of thumb. And closing costs are a little different than down payment because they are not quite as hard and fast as the down payment, right? So what I mean by that is that in some cases, depending on the circumstances, the type of market you're in, you may be able to get the seller to cover some or all of your closing costs depending on the loan program. There are some restrictions based on the type of loans and loan programs, right? That being said, you can finance your closing costs that way, and in some cases, what a lot of buyers would do in that situation would be to basically pay the difference when they go to purchase the home, right? So you're paying to finance those closing costs in the loan. And as soon as you get under contract, your expenses out of pocket guaranteed, you're going to need to get a home inspection. So number one is the home inspection, and that is typically between $300 and $500. You can opt to not get an inspection. That is not something I would ever encourage you to do, especially if you're buying a home that's not new construction. And even new construction, I recommend getting an inspection. So basically, depending on the inspector that you work with, you're looking at between $300 and $500. In addition to that, that's not the only part of the home that you're going to want to inspect. That's not the only thing you're going to pay for. You're going to have to pay for your WDO as well. The WDO is the wood destroying organism inspection, which basically is the termites and any wood rot. You want to determine if the house has termites or wood rot before you close on it so that it can be remediated before you buy the house. These things can be very expensive, okay? And number two, as far as once you get under contract, you're going to have to pay for an appraisal. Now, the banks basically just need to know that should you stop paying your mortgage, they can recoup the majority of their loss, right? So they require you to go out and pay or to get an appraisal done for that house. So they hire a dude and you pay them, right? They go out there and appraise the value of the house. That is paid before the appraisal happens, and that's typically around $500. Don't quote me on that. Your lender will give you specific information, okay? And the third thing that you may be asked to pay for once you get under contract is your survey on the home. A home survey can also be provided by the seller if they have it. If the seller has a survey, that's awesome. It saves you this expense altogether. Otherwise, in most cases, what's going to happen is the survey is going to be rolled into your closing costs. It'll just be another one of those couple $100 fees that makes no sense whatsoever. But some title companies require you to pay the survey up front before it's completed. So that's definitely a question that your agent wants to ask. You want to figure that out. And those are a couple $100. If you're in a flood zone, you're also going to need an elevation certificate, and that would have to be done at the same time as the survey, again, if the seller didn't provide one to you. So these are questions you want to ask, okay? That's really it as far as what it's going to cost you. Obviously, when it comes to closing, you and your lender are going to be in communications about what it's going to take to actually close the loan, what your monthly payments are going to be like. But does this make sense, guys? I appreciate your time. Let me know what you want to learn about next. As always, stay happy, healthy, productive, and have a blessed day.